Comcast has built a broadband network with one simple purpose: to keep customers connected every single day. In the last 10 years, we have invested $30 billion and $15 billion since 2017 alone to keep America's largest gig-speed broadband network fast, secure, and reliable. Because more Americans rely on Comcast to stay connected, we work around the clock to build a better network every single day. Comcast. Better today, even better tomorrow. Learn more at comcast.com/network.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, via Zoom is
Matthew, Stargirl, Stripe, Shiny Knight, Our Man, Wildcat, Dugan, House.
That's a long name.
It is. They get longer each time, so.
Yeah. Do you have to go down to the office, and change your name each week?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive, actually. I've pretty much gone bankrupt because of it, but it's fun.
That's just a reminder, folks. We do have a Patreon, which would help Matt immensely with changing his name. Yeah,
it can cover the cost instead of having to, go into my own piggy bank, which, I don't have a physical piggy bank. And I'm not 6, but like a metaphorical piggy bank, just so I can go change my name every week,
Yeah. Metaphorical piggy bank. That's the name of my new band.
So are they going to open up for was it Jeff Garland's butt crack and
Gator Smoke?
I'm still working on some Gator Smoke songs.
Yes.
I need to get my equipment back up and running. That's the problem. I need to get my electric guitars fixed, my recording equipment, so I can really turn out some jam band music here. Gator Smoke, do like a concert at the year or something like that.
Once that happens, you're gonna have to check out our TeePublic because I am working on a Gator Smoke T-shirt. It's gonna take me a bit to get to, but I've been busy with other things. But I will get to it soon, folks. I promise. So if you're waiting on the Gator Smoke T-shirt, trust me, the wait will be worth it.
Yes, it will.
Yes. So today on the show, we are covering 2 DC television series that aired this week. We have the season 2 premiere of Stargirl, which we will be covering first. Also, we will be covering the latest episode of season 6 of Legends of Tomorrow. We figured we'd do a little DC doubleheader here, so. So, folks, season 2 of Stargirl was entitled Summer School Chapter 1. It's directed by Andy Armaganian and written by the creator of the show, Jeff Johns. Aired August 10th, 2021. What's happening here in this episode, Matt?
We open up to something that happened decades ago. That's what it says, and it looks like it's from maybe the 1950s or so. There's this little girl who wants to go to a birthday party across the street. It's got a lot of people there. It looks really fun, and her mom won't let her go because she was being kind of a brat at the store, I guess. She wanted a doll really bad, but her mom wouldn't buy it for her, so she's basically kind of being grounded. And so she goes outside to sulk, in like a rocking, like a sort of swing kind of chair, and like this little boy shows up out of nowhere and basically like entices her to go to the party. No one's gonna notice or whatever. And we soon find out that this boy is pretty much acting as like a temptation, like an agent of temptation, like oh, why don't you go and steal one of the presents? Look at all the presents she has, and you didn't get one. It's not fair. So it's kind of like, this is getting kind of weird. Like this kid's like trying to almost entice this girl to like, utilizing her, worst instincts, I guess, if you will, human instincts. So she ends up taking one of the presents, and his kid's like giddy. He's like, oh, I wonder what it is. Like he's like almost like he's excited about what is in the package as much as she is. And then it turns out it's a doll, but it's like all like blackened and deformed, and then like she's like freaking out, and it kind of turns normal for a second, and then she turns around, and the kid has like this purple like gem or something like that, and it kind of glows, and he's like, you've been a bad girl or whatever. And then it cuts to her mom is like looking for her, and she thinks she went to the party against the rules or whatever, and then she looks over and screams. You don't know what happened to the girl, but something happened to the girl, and then it focuses on a mailbox, and it says McNider is on the mailbox, and then it just goes into the present, and Stargirl, and
but in the so in this opening sequence, the car we see in the driveway of the McNider house is Pat Dugan's car that he has in the future, or at least a car that looks exactly like it. So that's kind of interesting.
It probably is the same car.
Yeah, it was interesting too. Like when I first started watching this on, I almost worried that I had the wrong show on. Because I was like, what the fuck is all this? It felt like I was watching, like, I don't know, like a Conjuring or Annabelle movie or something like that, at first. It was like, I was like, what am I watching? And I didn't think it had anything to do with Stargirl, and then we cut into the actual Stargirl stuff. If it wouldn't have said like CW in the corner of the video I was watching, I wouldn't have thought I had the right video.
Right, yeah.
Or I thought I was watching the wrong CW show, I don't know. But I was like,
yeah,
is this Supernatural or something? Like, what the hell? I don't know. But anyways, so then we cut to present day, and what's happening there?
Stargirl and the team. You got the new Dr. Midnight, you got the new Wildcat, and the new Hourman, and they're basically just patrolling, the town, Blue Valley. And they're kind of over it. Like they're they're kind of overly confident. They're like, oh, we got rid of the ISA. The town's safe now, and she's like over vigilant. So you kind of have like the two extremes going on, where a lot of them just kind of want to put it past them. Like, all right, we did what we needed to do. We're done now, which is kind of naive to think. But because it's like if the JSA were able to reform with new people, why wouldn't the same be true for the ISA? But that stands for the Injustice Society of America. Kind of, DC has this interesting way of making things so literal, and like for a while I thought that was kind of a negative thing for them. Like Marvel has like these great names like Thanos, Iron Man, and like DC has characters like Elongated Man, and like Hour Man, because he only has power for an hour. But like now, like I almost find it like almost like innocent in a sense. Like these names are just so like literal, like the Justice Society of America, the Injustice Society of America. It's like it's just so like I don't know.
Imagine if this was the real world, and like Al-Qaeda or something, instead of calling themselves Al-Qaeda, called themselves the Injustice Society of America.
Exactly. I mean, well, I think because back then, sorry, if I can talk, back then, comics were very much more like good and evil is very straightforward. I think the show did do a little bit to kind of make it a little bit more current by basically saying, well, they call themselves the Injustice Society of America not because they think that they themselves are evil, but that they're battling injustice. But I don't think that was the original intention for the name back when the comic books were made. Yeah. I think they were meant to say, these are the bad guys, kid. Like, you know what I mean? But like nowadays, that's too simple for most people to get behind. They're like, no. So they're like, okay, well, they're called that ironically, type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that that they would do that. I mean, they might as well just be called the good guys and the bad guys.
Right. And like Icicle, I know he did a lot of bad things, but like I feel like Icicle was like sort of like the main sort of like ideological impetus of the organization. Everyone else kind of had like their own motives, but he was like the one who was like really had like the goal in mind to like, because basically like at the end of last season their whole project was like basically about like eliminating racism and help changing things for the better for climate change, and like totally not like what you would think like that these bad guys would be like, and like it was all about like Project New America, like we're going to solve racism, we're going to solve climate change, we're going to solve brutality, and we're going to do that by brainwashing everyone into doing the right thing.
Well, it's kind of like in modern comic book movies and TV shows. It's kind of like it's almost like an altruistic plan here, where they're not really thinking what they're doing is bad, even though it is bad. But their goal isn't necessarily bad, but their means are. It's kind of like like the story last season on Supergirl was kind of similar. Mm-hmm. And also the the whole Thanos thing, like where it's like, oh, I'm getting rid of half the population, so it'll make the people that are left be happy. So it's kind of
right. Well, with Thanos, though, I think he actually is pretty sadistic, because if you think about it, if he has all the Infinity Stones, then he could bend reality to whatever he wants. Why couldn't he just then make a universe where there would be no famine? Like, why would he have to kill half of all the creatures? Like, if he could do whatever he wants with it, that's the route he chooses.
Well, maybe he's just not too creative in his choices, and that's all he could think of.
I guess so. You think about it, and plus, too, he could even change the bad things he did to get the stones. So he could be like, all right, well, I killed a lot of people to get the stones, but now I'm just going to return all those people as if I never killed them, so everybody's happy. But then that wouldn't be a really good movie. So,
Or they could have just had the TVA come in and change everything. But
exactly. Oh boy.
So anyways, back to Stargirl here.
Yeah.
So this is like we'd say about 6 months after the events of the last season. Even though it's been like a whole year since the last season ended. in our reality, because of COVID and everything. So
yeah.
So we've got them, doing their little patrolling at night to make sure that no bad guys are around. And we've got a situation here where Pat has planned a family camping trip. and Pat and what's the wife's name? I forgot now.
Oh, it's Barbara.
Barbara really want to go, but the kids both don't want to go because they want to stay and take care of some JSA business and stuff like that. And but their plans are thwarted by the fact that Courtney is assigned to summer school by Harold Sherman, the new high school principal, who took over for Bowen, who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
So prior to that, though, we did have a situation in the school where Courtney almost beat up a student, Artemis, who is the daughter of, what were those characters' names? It's been so long since I watched it. I'm trying to remember their names.
Yeah, it's fine. It's Tigress and Sportsmaster.
Yes, she's the daughter of them. So, yeah, she thought she was just simply trying to return a hockey stick to another classmate, but Courtney thought she was being attacked. So, like happens. I used to do the same thing to the hockey team when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I beat up all of them. All those crazy hockey players. Yeah,
man. It's easy to beat up hockey players. No.
And I just kept thinking to myself all the time, you lose every shot you don't take. You miss every shot you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. That's what I kept thinking to myself. No, I'm joking. No, it was so...
You're right. Oh, I love that. It's Wayne Gretzky. He's got Michael Scott quoting Wayne Gretzky.
So, anyways, the whole that situation. She also had bumped into Isaac earlier, which will be meaningful later. So anyways, she failed history and another subject, even though she said she was gonna, study for it. She was up all night, not really studying. She was just finding out stuff about the ISA and the JSA and everything in the basement. Pat had came and talked to her, and it was like, you gotta, prioritize things in life here. It can't be JSA all the time. Because like,
right.
I don't focus on my secret identity all the time. I don't know about you, Matt.
No, not all the time. Some of the time, but half the time.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been having the same conversation with her for like the whole first season. That's been kind of bothering me a little bit. I mean, I understand that like they need to plot, but it's like it just draws on for season after season of like the same lesson being taught over and over and over again. It's like, okay, like time to move on to a different plot or something, because I mean it's literally the same exact conversation. I guess that's like talking to a teenager. So I guess that's
Well, I mean it is, like
I guess pretty accurate. But
teenagers, you can tell them the same thing over and over again, and they're not going to listen. So I know I was a teenager,
right?
At the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, me too. So I mean, I was pretty good, I think. I don't think I argued too much, but probably a little bit. But it's interesting though because she's reading the JSA files and she asked Pat about Perdegaton, which is interesting because that was one of the main characters in the first season of Legends of Tomorrow, at least from Earth 1, because I think Stargirl takes place in Earth 2. But and then like she's like, what happened to Perdegaton? And Pat's like, oh, he was banished to an alternate timeline by the Flash. And she's like, okay, whatever that means. I'm starting to wonder though, would that have anything to do with crossover a little bit, like if if the Flash banished him to
not to spoil things,
the timeline,
not to spoil things, but John Wesley Shipp is making an appearance this season on Stargirl, who is
right? Yeah, exactly.
Jay Garrick. So
yeah, so that's I'm very much looking forward to that.
But anyways, at the end of that scene that happened earlier, we had the Green Lantern started shining.
That's right.
As they went upstairs. So anyways, meanwhile, while this is going on, Rick is secretly caring for Grundy. So
yeah,
somebody he almost killed. and is and supposedly responsible for his parents' deaths. So it's like, yeah. So
it's weird that he takes such an interest in taking care of him now. I think it's because he looked in his eyes when he was about to kill him, and he was so afraid, and he felt sorry for him,
And so,
yeah.
So anyways, Beth is trying to reboot Chuck while this is all going on. And finds out that her parents are filing for divorce. So, there's that. We didn't have much happening in the first season with Beth, like when it came to like a major drama. She seemed to be in the perfect family and everything seemed to be perfect, but we're finding out now that her parents are going to get divorced. So we do have that.
Right.
Plus she's losing her best friend in Chuck, so.
Right, yeah.
And at one point she ends up creating a new, like a fancy romantic dinner for her parents, but they cancel on her and they can't come home for dinner. In a really sad scene where she's sitting there eating by herself. And then she hears Chuck on the old goggles. And Chuck doesn't remember her. And basically says to leave him alone, so. Yeah, so that happened. Then we have Yolanda, who is suffering some post-traumatic stress over killing Brainwave. She at one point goes into a church, just sits in a confessional, and isn't ready to say anything to the priest. She runs out crying. The priest asks her if she's okay. So we got that going on, and she's just basically dealing with the whole, regret of killing somebody,
Mm-hmm.
Later on, Courtney talks to her about it and says to her that, what else could you have done? It was either you or him, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is true. She was basically defending herself. But still, a teenager dealing with the fact that she killed a man is kind of creepy,
I mean, yeah, she's like, 16, maybe 17, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, not too many girls I knew had killed somebody.
Yeah. I mean, if I do remember correctly, he was going to kill her because he accidentally gave himself away, right? Because he made himself look like Henry.
Yeah.
But then he said something like, I think his turn of phrase was, where are your friends? And that was like, well, that's a weird thing for Henry to say. Where are your friends?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so she knew that he was casting like an illusion or whatever, and then slit his throat with the claws.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. Anyways, so we got that whole story going on with Yolanda. Then we also have a scene where our good friend Joel McHale, I don't know, I just like to think of him as my friend. I've never met him or anything, but...
Yeah, our good friend, yep.
Yep. If you're listening to this for any reason, Joel McHale, I'd love to have you on the podcast, because I'm a big fan. But,
yes.
Yes. So, he, looks like Sylvester, a.k.a. Starman. Don't know if it's really him or not. But he's out there looking for Pat still. He's in Nevada and asks about Pat from a waitress who is Pat's ex-wife. So that's like the one scene we have there with Starman, or Starman, quote unquote. So this whole time, Zeke there's a lot going on in this episode.
Yeah,
we had Zeke the tow truck driver who was going to help out Pat at the place when Pat went on vacation, but then the vacation got canceled. they were going to go on a vacation to Yellowstone, by the way, a camping trip to Yellowstone, which they called Jellystone in there a couple times just as a joke, which I think is funny. Which is funny because DC owns Hanna-Barbera. So they have the rights to it. If they wanted to call it Jellystone, they could, you know? I'd love to see a future episode where Yogi Bear just shows up. Anyway, so, that would be a really weird episode. But, you know, Warner Brothers and DC, Warner Brothers owns, DC and, Hanna-Barbera. So, they could do it if they wanted to. I mean, Scooby-Doo used to hang out with Batman, so why not Yogi Bear with Stargirl? I'm going to petition for that in season 3, okay? If that ends up happening by any means, I don't know what I'll do, man. That'll be weird. I think they'll owe me money. Anyway, so Zeke is like helping out at the body shop. He ends up finding Stripe in the room that he's not supposed to go into. He mistakes it for a robot and suggests some modifications, which he just keeps doing anyways, even though Pat's basically kind of telling him, you know, stay away from that, you know, sort of thing. What else is going on here? We've got we got at the end of the episode, Cindy shows back up and is entering the school in our end scene where she and Eclipso, who I believe is the being that we saw in the first scene, that's my theory on that, begin recruiting for a new ISA called Injustice Unlimited. We have candidates including Artemis, Cameron, and Isaac. And who else, Matt?
Mike Dugan, Pat's son.
Yes.
Which is... I have a theory about that. Okay, so... the only way I could see that happening is I hope they don't do this because his friend Joaquin is a really good character in the comic books. So I'm hoping they don't do this, but like what I'm thinking is like the only way that they could get Mike on their side is if Joaquin gets killed or dies, and then they're going to blame it on the JSA, and then he's going to be.
Is it Joaquin or Joaquin?
It's Joaquin.
Okay. How's it spelled?
It's J, A. Keem, I think.
Oh, okay. Joaquin. Okay, I thought you. I was. Yes. I was just making sure. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
I think it's Joaquin. Yeah, and I hope not though because that pink pen. He's the one that is able to use that. So that pink pen that Courtney took in the first season has to come into play at some point. So I'm hoping that they're not going to kill him because that's the only thing I could think of that would drive Mike bad, basically, to going like on the other side. But who knows? You know, I don't know. But,
we'll have to see. I mean,
yeah,
that's about the only thing I can think of. So do you want to take a break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Legends, and then we'll do some speculation at the end. Okay, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back. Okay, so first off, this episode here, we had we forgot to mention something here on the Stargirl thing. At the end, there was a nice little fight between Stargirl and who?
And Green Lantern's daughter.
Yes. So, who in the comics is known as Jade. So we'll see where that goes. So that was a nice little setup. Hopefully they'll delve into that next week.
Mm-hmm.
Now on to Legends of Tomorrow. Season 6, Episode 11. Directed by Jess McCallan. Written by James Egan and Ray Oternichit. I don't know how to say that, but anyways. It's called The Final Frame and originally aired on August 8th, 2021. What's happening here in this episode, Matt?
Bayward is trying to make pot brownies, and he's like failing at doing so. I guess he's just weird. I assumed he would already know how to do something like that, but maybe he's like trying to cook up a really special batch or whatever. So he's not doing it. And then John just shows up, and he's basically on like the cocaine equivalent of magic right now, since he started taking that potion that vampire banker, which we established last time that, you know, there's actually like, you know, night bankers, you know, like for vampires, like, you know, you can't go out in the sun. Just go to the vampire banks. They'll serve you. It's fine. So she works there at that establishment, I'm guessing, and then he offers a blood. That's right. Yeah, blood bank. Yes, and so he offers to help, and he's like just juiced up, you know. So his magic is just like, he can't control it right now because it's more powerful than what he's used to. And so Bayrod's like, okay, no thanks. Like, you might kill me or whatever. And he's like, all right, cool, whatever. And he goes off, whatever, doing his thing. The Sarah, Mick, Spooner, McRory. Sorry, I said right. Rory, Astra. Sorry, excuse me. Was there a fifth person?
It was Sarah, Mick, Astra, and Spooner.
So it was just the four of them. Okay, yeah, they're like, I'm looking for the final alien pod, I guess, or whatever, or one of the final ones. So then it turns out that there's no alien in there, but they do find like this weird box inside there. It's like glowing, stuff like that, and they all start, you know, fighting over who's gonna solve the puzzle or whatever, and then you know, except for Sarah, and then they end up like unlocking it, and then they all get transported to a bowling alley.
Yes, it's called Galaxy Lanes. It's a bowling alley in space, and they were in Kansas City, Kansas, and I thought it was kind of funny because, you know, she says, Sarah says at one point, "I don't think we're in Kansas anymore." Which, you know, yeah. So, when they get there, there's a friendly old man who runs the place. there's a team in there called the Pin Killers. And they are basically a team that is now the champions of the bowling alley. And what they're doing is basically killing whole planets when they beat a team from that planet. And then they capture the... So, basically, Buddy has explained to them that if they lose, they'll be disintegrated. And Earth will, like, basically no longer exist. And Buddy is the kindly old owner that works in the place. Still trying to figure out this whole, new league rules here. Anyways, while this is going on, Nate and OG Zari are on a date in Alaska with some really annoying with a really annoying couple that they ran into, who are these type of people that, bring everything to the campsite, all the amenities of home. Make it kind of pointless to be camping, so it's kind of weird what's going on. Anyway, so and then the girl says rock and roll to everything.
Yeah, I know, that's, yeah.
It was cringy. Anyway, so because nobody responded hoochie coo.
Yeah, exactly. If you or I were there, we would just pop out of a tree and go hoochie coo. Yeah,
and then we'd be done. It was
we get thrown out of the campground because we don't have, we weren't there. We didn't pay to get there. We just showed up.
I was at work the other night, and my friend Bill, I said rock and roll, and then he said rock and roll hoochie coo, and I was like, you're awesome, Bill. You're awesome.
Yes.
So
he got it.
Yeah. So anyways, so they're basically in the process of trying to figure out what's going on, because they noticed that, like, things are getting dark, things are getting light, and different things like that, because they realize that basically above them is the holes in the ball of the which is actually Earth. Something I never thought I'd say in my life.
Yeah. The holes in the ball are Earth.
They're Earth. Okay. Anyway, so they're trying to figure out a way to fix things while also trying to navigate their relationship and their long distance relationship, basically. Because we've all dated somebody who's stuck inside of a totem.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
You meet someone, then you forget about that someone because the timeline had completely changed, and all of your memories of that person are just completely washed away. And instead, all those new memories are put on that person's sibling. So whatever you had, you just thought, oh, this is my new reality. This old reality doesn't even exist, never happened. But then you start remembering stuff from your old reality. And then you're like, oh, there was another person on this time ship. And I got a video of her telling him to go find her. It happens all the time, dude.
Yeah, it happened to me like 4 times in college. I don't know.
So,
yeah. So, anyways, we basically have them searching a way to fix things. While on the ship, Constantine is trying to save things by magic. all the while, Gary is trying to distract Ava from realizing that Sarah and the rest are missing by helping her find the perfect wedding dress. Because the Wave Rider can't find Earth, basically, because it's stuck inside of this bowling alley.
Right.
This is the weirdest fucking episode in a while, man.
No, it is. I was like, wait a minute, this is a bowling alley? Really? This is where we're going? I mean, I know they've had some weird episodes before, but man, I never thought I would see a bowling alley, a cosmic... It's probably called cosmic bowling is what they called it.
Yeah, that's the kind of bowling they were doing. Yeah. Which in reality is usually when you turn the lights off and you got like glow bowling and stuff. Anyway, so, you know. So, what else is happening here in the bowling alley?
The Legends. So, like when they showed up, they already had uniforms that said the Legends on the back of the shirts or whatever. They're not doing so well. Mick refuses to take his gloves off, so he's not really bowling that well. He doesn't even like bowling anyway. Spooner's really good at bowling because she's played it, a lot over the years. Astra's, okay. Sarah's pretty good. So, it's not looking good for them because, you got these pin killers who pretty much probably play all the time. I mean, they have like 15.
And they're led by a guy named Mike the Strike.
Mike the Strike. More of a douchebag.
Which, by the way, I am not adopting that name by any means.
Good, yeah. I was hoping that you wouldn't start calling yourself Mike the Strike.
Yeah, Mike the Strike.
Yeah, and like he has like slick back hair. Like he looks like some dude from like the '60s. Like, just looks like a stereotypical douchebag bowler. Yeah, I guess
he kind of looks like he would have been a member of the T-Birds in Greece or something.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so they're kicking the Legends' ass, of course, because that's all they do all day is bowl, I guess. And Sarah's trying to figure out how to pull this together because otherwise they're going to just be stuck as this freaking bowling ball in the trophy case. And so she started talking to the guy who, quote, owns the place, but yet he can't make up his own rules about his own establishment, which, again, I guess we shouldn't get into that. But okay, because, where I come from, the owner of a place sets the rule and then enforces said rules about the establishment that they...
Maybe the rule that he made was that whoever's in charge of the... whoever's the championship of the league gets to make the rules.
Well, yeah, but every smart owner has a loophole where, in case things, go off the tracks,
I mean, that's how I became a manager of a McDonald's once by mistake because I ordered a quarter pounder and they're like, hey, because you ordered a quarter pounder right now, you become the manager. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, well, okay. And then, yeah, so she's talking to the owner and just trying to ask him like her advice or whatever. And he tells her, bowling, is best when you're not really, thinking about the score and you're just kind of, with friends and stuff like that. So then she gets the idea, to turn off the scoreboard and just, have everyone eat nachos and french fries and like drink sodas and stuff like that and just hang out with each other and not really, pay attention, to the score that much. So they're like, well, it still matters whether we win or lose. And she's like, yeah, I know, but it's like if we're, like, if we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose no matter what. So we might as well lose while we're having fun instead of like, going crazy over whether or not,
Yeah, and Astra has to start bowling too because of the fact that Spooner hurt herself.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she jammed her fingers. Yeah, that's right. So it's right because she was sitting the game out earlier, and Yeah. So, Ava eventually finds out, what's going on because she hears like the time ship rumble. So Gary ends up spilling the beans as he does. Eventually, whenever Ava gives him a stern look, Gary always just ends up completely falling apart. So, because Gary's got like a weird quasi crush. I wouldn't even say a crush, almost like a admiration. Like,
it's more like an idolization sort of thing.
Yeah. So he always ends up spilling the beans whenever he can't keep holding the secret anymore. And tells her what's going on, that, trying to find a perfect wedding dress was pretty much a ruse just to keep her busy or whatever. And they end up, John ends up, his magic spell sort of works, but it just kind of takes them where they think that, Earth might be close to. And that's when they see the bowling alley just kind of like in the distance from the ship. And they're like, what's this about? Whatever. So then Ava ends up knocking on the door to the bowling alley, and the owner says, that she can't come in because you have to have an invitation, i.e. that stupid box thing, I guess, was the invitation. And but Sarah, explains to her what's going on, that these bowling balls are actually planets, and they have to beat the pin killers in order to salvage the Earth / bowling ball. And every time they bowled, so every time Mike to strike bowls, you see what's going on at Earth. So like the ball's going down the lane, but then like Earth is rumbling, like earthquakes and stuff like that. And like when it hit the pins, it like actually split like some of the land, like apart from each other.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, as you would. And at one point, too, they're like, does that cloud look like Mick? At one point.
They always look like Mick. Anyway, yeah. So basically, then we have a situation where Zari ends up shooting at Mike the Strike's finger, disrupting a roll, allowing Sarah's team to defeat the pin killers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so then they restore Earth. And Nate reassures Zari, OG Zari that is, of his desire to be with her forever. He's not going to let the long distance get in their way. And
yeah, man.
And then we have all of the legends get together at the bowling alley and have a team picture taken. And Buddy notices Constantine, and he worries that his power could be the death of him.
Yeah, since he's all about energy, he can sense that John's kind of got some darkness going on, from the juicing,
Yep. So that's that episode. Do you want to take a break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and we'll do some speculation for both Stargirl and Legends?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back. Okay, so in
Back.
Speculation here, Matt. So Stargirl season 2, every episode is called Summer School, and so Summer School Part 2 takes so basically in Summer School Chapter 2, I should say, they're calling them chapters, it will see Courtney continuing her duties as Stargirl and probing the town for villains. And then Cindy is going to start her recruitment for people of the JSA. And then we'll also learn more about the history and motivations of Green Lantern's daughter. And, yep. So we also have possibility of this season of the Shade showing up. He was teased at the end of last season. Richard Swift. Yes. No relation to Taylor Swift, as far as I know. So that's a little bit of what is to come in the second episode. What do you see happening here? My main thing is this: do you think that the guy that Joel McHale is playing is the real Sylvester or a lookalike?
I'm not sure. I mean, if it is him, I don't understand why he would try to find Pat, because, I mean, he told them, to take the staff and to find someone who's worthy of it. So my concern is, if it is him, that he's going to think like the staff just belongs to him now because he's Starman, and there's going to be like a power grab between him and Courtney, where the staff chose Courtney and she's the new star wielder.
Yeah, it's hard to say where this is going. I mean, it's hard to say if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy. I'm sensing bad guy myself, just because I know the way the CW shows work. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, he kind of does have a sort of calculating, cold aspect to his personality that he wasn't acting like. I mean, granted, we only saw like 5 minutes of him in the first episode of the first season, but he didn't really have like that kind of man on a mission, just like asking questions and like
he's coming across kind of smarmy, like Joel McHale tends to do sometimes, even though he's totally not that way. But
yeah. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I mean, one speculation is that he could have been maybe a bad version of that character from a different timeline or something, or like a evil Starman from like Earth 4 or something, or
because he could have got stuck there after Crisis, or he could be maybe he's like a long lost twin that figured out his family secret. Who knows?
Right.
It's hard to say. I mean, that's my main wonder about the future, as much as it's kind of cool to see like Stargirl. Green Lantern's daughter and other people, coming about. But it's like I really just want to know what's going on there with Sylvester. So, Suffering Succotash. Wait, no, that's a different Sylvester.
Yeah.
Owned by the same company though. So, my hope is that he turns into Sylvester the cat. Do you think that'll happen?
Hey, I mean, what if one of these people has the ability to transform objects or whatever?
He can turn into Sylvester and Tweety, and
he could.
Courtney turns into Tweety, and then we got a whole.
So, yeah. My other thing though is I'm really looking forward to why Cindy thinks Mike would be a good candidate for the new ISA. That's really interesting. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes, and I hope it's going into positive ways, and I really don't want anything bad to happen to Mike because he's like one of my favorite characters. So
yeah, I know, me too. So,
but maybe they'll give him some meat to play on, and he'll be a little bit of a villain. Who knows? Maybe it'll probably be fun. Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just thought something too. So, I mean, I don't know if it could have just been, coincidence, but when Pat's talking about, the vacation, he's trying to, talk it up with Mike, to get him on board or whatever. He mentions the fact that they can ride on jet skis. I'm like, yes, because Luke Wilson. It's probably just coincidence, but I just thought that was hilarious.
It could be, but it's interesting to know that both Loki and Stargirl were filming at the same time in Georgia. And Luke and Owen Wilson were sharing a house at the time. They were both filming the shows at the same time. So, while Luke was filming this, his brother was filming Loki. So, and I guess I read an interview with Luke where he was saying that that basically his nephews, Owen's kids, are not impressed that either one of their relatives are in superhero shows.
Oh,
but they'll watch them and they love them, but they're just like, yeah, whatever. So,
wow,
yeah,
wow.
Anyway, so one thing we did forget about is Cameron was in the episode too. Forgot about that. And, and we're trying to, and his grandparents were watching him while he was about to repaint the Blue Valley Tires sign. So, and Courtney kind of interacted with him, and they were sort of, worried about that. The one was worried, and the other one wasn't. So it's hard to say. And it's it's really weird that the moment I said tires, an ad for Firestone tires came up on my computer.
Whoa.
Okay.
You should mention pizza right now. See if you get a ad for like Papa John's or something.
I love pizza.
You love Papa John's or Marco's?
I like Marco's best, but
okay.
Yeah, nothing's coming up. Anyway, so
okay.
It was still the tire ad. Anyway, so that was just weird though. Anywho, so now to Legends. In the next episode of Legends, what we have going on is that Constantine lights up Gideon's life a little too much. Our Legends are stuck traveling slow-mo on their way back home to save on energy. So with a ton of time to kill and the chance that at any moment any one of them could snap, so it's kind of like sounds like a bottle episode sort of thing. Gary suggests a murder mystery game as a distraction. But as you're about to see in the following images here, sorry, I'm reading the same thing. The episode is called Board on Board on Board. Yeah, with different spellings of each of those things. Basically, it ends up becoming what was a fun, innocent time killer becomes something much, much worse after Constantine attempted to jazz things up a bit. So it looks like Constantine is going to use his magic and mess with things, and things are going to go haywire. I think this is basically what's leading to is like, it says something about Gideon where he's lighting up Gideon because we know that Gideon is becoming a sentient being next season. Like an actual human. So
nice.
Or humanoid character, I should say. And the actress is joining the cast as one of the main characters. So, and we do
Nice.
and we do know
Cool.
that Matt Ryan is going to be playing a different character next season. So, we'll see.
Right.
This seems to be like what's leading to that. So that's my main speculation, is to see how they wrap things up for Constantine, which I'm really sad about. But oh well.
Yeah, me too. I hope they don't kill him off or something like that. But
It's seeming like they're going to.
yeah,
In my fear, but we'll see what happens.
in my fear.
In my fear, in my ear, it's all I hear, my dear. Is that clear? Okay, anyway, so, we'll see what happens there. That's my main wondering is, like, how they're gonna wrap things up for Matt Ryan in this character and introduce his next character.
Yeah.
So, any speculations on your part about what's going to go on?
No, I think that's pretty much the things you mentioned too. Like, John's magic might take his magic a little too far or something, or
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of left this one sort of open ended, so there's not much to.
Yeah, I think something's going to happen with him and Zari, and he might hurt her or something, and that, who knows what'll happen,
Right.
Who knows, maybe they'll get rid of Zari 2.0 and bring Zari 1.0 back.
No, I like
know.
New Zari.
I know, I do too, but who knows what they'll do, you know what I mean? As long as they keep her on the show because she's beautiful and I love her as an actress, I'm good. So,
Oh yeah, she's really good. I mean, yeah, because she can play two different, completely different personality types. I mean, it's like hard to even like when you have them two, like when you have each character, like you don't even assume that they're the same person. Like, you know what I mean? It's
it's hard to say, but I do know that I like her as an actress. Tala Ash is really cool. Okay, anything else here, Matt, before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I just wanted to play some little bit sleepy time music for the legends so they can lay down gently and have a nice nap in the time shift.
Okay.
Right. This is Gary the Alien wrote this song, and I'm playing it on his behalf. Night.
Beautiful. Okay, folks. Now be sure to check out our Patreon. Follow us on social media. Do what's best for yourself. Sleep well. Wear a mask. Wear a condom. And bye-bye. Sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.